Hey there, I'm Sammy and welcome back to my channel. In this week's video, I've got a really quick flip for you guys. I'm going to be redoing a piece for the second time, so stick around to find out why. So you may recognize this piece because I flipped it a while back. Now this piece has been sitting on the market for over 6 months, so it was time to just redo it, give it a new look, and hopefully it would sell faster. So I started off by removing all of the drawers and then flipping it upside down so I could work on the legs first. Flip it. Alright, I laid out my painting tarp so that way I could flip this over and feel a little bit better about it sitting on the top side and not getting scratched up, so that I can work on these legs first. My goal is to repaint this. We're gonna give this kind of like a darker vibe instead of this light beachy tones that are going on here. So I wanna get this sanded and painted as soon as possible. It is supposed to be at least 100 degrees later today. It is early in the morning right now. So I'm gonna sand these legs, wrap them so they're covered, give everything else a really good scuff sand with a 120 grit sandpaper, and then we're gonna get a first coat of paint on this. While that's drying, we can then start to work on the drawer faces, but I really wanna get this painted as soon as I can. The last time I flipped this dresser, I did not have my Festool sander yet, so sanding these legs is going to be a piece of cake. Take me a few minutes and then we'll get them wrapped and flip this guy over to sand the rest of it. So these had a really light paint wash and then a polyurethane on top of them. So I was going in here with a 120 grit sandpaper to remove that old finish, and it was coming off really easy because I just put a really light coat of paint wash on it. This go around, I am making this piece dark and moody, and this is my go-to. So I'm wrapping the legs here because I will be staining those later, but I'm painting the rest of this dresser. Now I've brought this in the garage because it is getting so hot out and being just out of the sun is so much better. So I'm going to go in quickly with a 120 grit sandpaper over the entire base and exterior of this to give it a good scuff sand, so that way when we go to repaint it, it's going to adhere really well. I don't need to worry about repairing anything because I've already redone this, and so this is going to be really quick. All we need to do is give it a scuff sand and we're ready for paint. So let's get going. It's getting hot. When I first redid this piece, I went with this color option here because it was doing really well in my market, and my go-to would be a dark stain and a darker paint color, and I did end up painting this because there was just so much damage that needed repaired, and it was a little too far beyond repair for me, so that's why it is painted. But I was trying to go with something that my market would accept well, and obviously that did not work. Because here we are 6 months later and this thing is still on the market and I have gotten 0 messages.
This video is sponsored by FlexiSpot, and they sent me their Powerlift Recliner XL6 Cloud. This chair has been a great new addition to my self-care routine. It's extremely soft and plush with just the right firmness to give you some support. It has convenient side pockets to hold the remotes. It has massage and heating functions, so you'll see two remotes here. The position remote can either be placed in the pocket or hooked on the side. And because of the dual motors, it has independent control on the backrest and the footrest, or you can do both at once. It can lay flat at almost 180 degrees, which is great for taking naps. For the heating and massage functions, you can choose from 4 different areas, the intensity, and the level of heat you would like, and you can conveniently set a timer so it isn't left on for hours on end. Both remotes are sleek and very easy to use. I love that you can adjust the back and the footrest separately to give you just the right position for you. This chair came in 2 separate pieces and was very easy to assemble. This is the larger size, giving a little bit more space to cozy up, holding up to 400 pounds. The remote features a home button that you can press to bring you back to an upright position. And if you have any elderly people at home or people with limited mobility, this recliner is perfect as it can bring you all the way up to an upright standing position. I love being able to come in after a long day working in the shop, turn on the heat function, and sit back and relax. This chair has been a game changer. This chair is surpassing other lift chairs on the market, giving you premium features, comfort, and durability, all at an affordable price. If you're interested, check it out by clicking the link in the description below and use my exclusive code CLOUD50 for an extra $50 off your purchase. Now back to the video. I got out my air compressor hose and I blew everything off to get the majority of the dust off, and then I went in with a wet rag to collect any remaining dust left on the surface so that none of that gets stuck in our paint. Going in with my first coat of paint here. Now this is my typical go-to Carbon by Behr. This is the ultimate black. I feel like you get so much pigment with just one coat, and I'm even painting over a white base here, so that is saying something. But I'm going over everything here, giving it one thorough coat, and then we will let that dry. Coat 1 of paint is done. It's drying out there in the sun. Hopefully that should be dry in honestly about 30 minutes or so, and I can apply another coat. While that's drying, I'm gonna go ahead and start sanding these drawers. I need to remove this old finish. The first time I did it, I did a light paint wash on it, and I think it's all gonna come off just fine with sanding it with a 120 grit. And then we're gonna go over it with a dark stain to really make that wood grain pop and stand out. So I need to go through these 4 drawers. I'm going to sand them with a 120 grit and remove this old finish, and then we'll be able to stain these. It is so hot outside right now. Like, it's not even that hot yet. I don't even think it's 90 yet. It's supposed to be like 100 today, but it's so humid. I brought this in the garage because it was sitting out in the sun. It gets so hot up there, and especially this being black paint, it's going to attract the sun and the heat, so it's really hot. I brought it in to cool off a minute, and I'm going in with a 220 grit sandpaper, or you can go in with a higher grit. Sometimes I even use like a 1300 grit sandpaper, but I really wanted to buff out the surface between this first coat and the second coat, so going in with my block over the whole surface, and then I'll let it cool off a lot more, and then we'll go in with the second coat.
Once that was scuff sanded, I went back to the drawers and I wiped those all down with a wet rag to collect any remaining dust left on the surface to prep it for stain. And then I'm going in with coat number 2 here, and at this point I am asking myself, why the heck I just didn't paint it this color in the first place?
Alright, moving back to the drawers. While the second coat is drying on that, we're going to go ahead and stain these drawer fronts. I'm going in with a classic early American stain. I'm going to use a lint-free rag to apply this. This wood grain is very open, and so it catches any sort of like little fuzzes. Say you're using like a cotton cloth or old t-shirts is what I like to use. This just catches so easily, so after you stain it you have all these little tiny pieces of fuzz, and we don't want that, especially if we're going to put a sealer over it. It's just going to kind of be a bumpy surface to touch and not super smooth. So we don't want that. Make sure you're using a lint-free rag. We're going to apply a coat, and it should be pretty deep and also bring out the red tones in this wood. This wood is pretty red, so I'm hoping it gives it a deep, rich color to go with the black. I also like to use things that I can throw away, but keep in mind before you throw it away, these stains can be very flammable, so you want to lay them out so that they can fully dry, and then you can toss them in your garbage can. You don't want to toss them in when they're wet, or else you have a chance of them combusting. So I like to just like lay them on the edge of my trash can, sometimes on the floor, and then the next day I'll come out and toss them in the trash, and it's fine. Oh no. Okay, so it's so good. Oh my gosh. This is going to complement the black so well. Watch, I'm gonna list this and it's gonna sell like right away. That's my dream. Maybe it won't. It's so good though.
Now, don't get me wrong, I do love a good light paint wash on natural wood pieces of furniture, but I noticed myself gravitating more towards the darker, moody, rich wood tones. And this is exactly what that's giving. Then I removed the plastic on the legs so that I could go ahead and stain those as well, because I wanted those to match with the drawers.
All right, I'm gonna be going in now. You'll notice I didn't spray it with any sort of sealer, and that's because I'm gonna be waxing it. I think it's just gonna look a lot better, and I am not worried about this paint chipping whatsoever. It is really good to go. And I think waxing the drawer fronts with the stain on them will really help the wood grain pop and bring out the rich tones. So I'm using a beeswax wood polish. This is the wood polish I typically use when finishing off a piece. I'm just going in with my large bristle brush. I'm gonna go over the base unit first, and then we'll put the drawers in and go over those as well. Another great tip here that is not shown, but I did do it, is waxing the drawer glides on the underneath of the drawer, but also inside the unit. And this just ensures that your drawers will glide in and out nice and smoothly, and they won't catch on anything. So here's the catch. I got it staged, I took some photos, I listed it. It's been up for over 2 months now, and I still have gotten nothing. So at this point, I'm at a loss for words. What do I do? Do I add hardware to it? Do I try listing it for less? Leave it down in the comments below. Let me know what you think. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope that you really enjoyed this video. Even though it was the second time around for me, I did have fun with this quick flip. Don't forget to leave me some comments down below letting me know what I should do with this piece, and give this video a big thumbs up so I know that you liked it. But as for now, I'll see you in the next video. Bye!